let's start the session. So welcome everyone. My name is Michael Buse. I'm the new product owner for process modeling in SAP Cloud ALM for implementation. And with me, my colleague Wolf Heinrich Knapp. And we will present to you today, manage your processes and run fit to standard workshops with SAP Cloud ALM. Please use the hashtag ALM Summit for your social media posts. And let's directly start by having a look at the agenda. So we will start with an introduction, then I will guide you through the fit to standard workshop, how this is done in SAP Cloud ALM. Then we'll show also this in a live demo, and then Wolf will take over and talk about the integrations and public APIs, and also then show in a little demo. And afterwards, if we have time, we can have a Q&A. If not, Wolf and myself, we will be here outside of the room waiting for you if you have any questions. Let's start with the introduction. So, SAP Cloud ALM went live in August 2020. It's now live since 3 years for customers and partners to use. In comparison, the solution manager is at the market for more than 20 years. We support today already for more than 4,125 customers. And we grow by 8 customers per day. So from my perspective, it's a great time to start investing into SAP Cloud ALM if you have not started so far. Some more KPIs out of the process management. So we have more than 87,000 scope solution processes already, more than 7,000 custom solution processes created. There are around 2,000 BPMN diagrams modeled per month, and we have more than 2,000 requirements captured per month. So, process management and its core capabilities in SAP Cloud ALM, the process management itself for sure, then the process offering. We offer for you process hierarchies and also, let's say, the documentation as the documents connected to the processes. I also see here in, let's say, in the area of this core capability of process management. We have open APIs for process scope, for custom processes, and we have a lot of standard implementation content from SAP, the such called best practices. So everything around S/4HANA, public cloud, private cloud, on-prem, and so on, success factors, ISBN, Intelligent Spend and Business Network. There we have products like SAP Ariba, SAP Business Network, SAP Fieldglass, integrated business planning, the IBP. So for all of those products, you find standard process content from SAP directly in our tool. And the main supported use cases for us is definitely the scoping of the processes of the individual solution processes. Then for sure the fit to standard workshops, which are normally done in an implementation project by the customer and the partner together, the standard content lifecycle of a process, the process offering and process modeling of BPMNs, and since Wednesday last week, we have available in all of these 4,125 tenants the BPMN import. So today you can import your BPMNs directly in our UI and assign it to a custom solution process. And we are working on to have this also available through the API. So hopefully end of the year, maybe beginning of next year. It's on the roadmap for beginning of next year. But it looks pretty good. So let's now have a look at the fit to standard workshop, how this is done in the SAP Cloud ALM. So you need to define the real scope of a project. So if you think about S/4HANA Public Cloud, there in the sales cycle, normally the pre-sales and the customer do the DDA, the digital discovery assessment, and the outcomes of that you can then load into SAP Cloud ALM. But maybe this is not sufficient for the real implementation. Maybe the customer needs additional solution processes. He maybe needs to adapt some solution processes. And for that, we have the Fit to Standard workshop available in the Cloud ALM that the customer and the partner then, the implementation partner, can together do this this Fit to Standard workshop and define the real project scope. So, and that's why for us, we say process scope plus the requirements captured in the Fit to Standard workshop is then the real project scope. And how does a Fit to Standard workshop work in SAP Cloud ALM? That's what you can see here on the diagram. You create a project, then you scope a solution scenario, then you scope a specific solution process. And if the solution process is not sufficient, let's say, the BPMN is not sufficient, you can copy it to our process offering area, adapt the SAP standard content, and then you can scope it again and use it in the Fit to Standard workshop and create requirements and what needs to be changed to document. So, define scope in more detail. So we scope in SAP Cloud ALM a solution scenario, which is a package of processes. So for example, for S/4HANA Public Cloud, you have a solution scenario, but also for S/4HANA on-premise, you have, for example, for different modules of Ariba, for example, for Ariba sourcing, for SuccessFactors Employee Central, and many, many more. And then you go and scope the solution process. So let's stay with the example of S/4HANA Public Cloud, then, for example, the J58, or the BD9, the sell from stock. And that's how you do the scoping in the SAP Cloud ALM. And you can see the blue example here. So the first thing you would do is to create a scope. We call it here finance in this S/4HANA Public Cloud implementation. There's another scope created, which is a HR, but we concentrate here on the finance one. And then we scope first the solution value flow, which is the business perspective of this solution process. And then, and also here, we find the business perspective, the solution value flow, and the solution process flow, the detailed BPMN, how the, let's say, how the solution or how the process runs through the solution. Important, adapting SAP standard content. For sure, the standard content is great, but for specific customers, it's not enough. Maybe for specific industries, for example. And we have also a lot of partners who have own content. So it definitely makes sense that you make that we have available that you can adapt this SAP standard content. So, and as said, you have all these different best practices in Ariba and business network world. They are calling it leading practices. So we have all this content available in Cloud ALM. It's the same content which you find in the SAP Signavio Process Navigator on the SAP For Me, which you may know, or which was before called the Best Practice Explorer. So this is the same content what you can find in the Cloud ALM, but here, let's say, it's more in a live environment where you can then use this BPMN, remodel it, and use it in your Fit to Standard workshop. You can set it live and so on. So, as said, we have the BPMN modeling available directly here in the tool. And it's the same as, for example, the S/4HANA content is also created. So it's the same modeling is available for you directly in Cloud ALM if you want to adapt the SAP standard content. If you have specific feedback here on the modeling part, it would be great if you can share it with us that we can improve this here. So, but what if you or the customer want to use Signavio or another third-party tool? So, since last week, it's public, our BPMN import. That means you are in a Signavio or a third-party solution, you can export from there a BPMN and then can upload it and assign it to a custom process. You can also then model this uploaded BPMN directly here in our tool. That's what I also will show you then in the live demo. And then you would publish this custom process and can use it in your Fit to Standard workshops for your implementation project. So for partner content, partner who want to bring their process content into SAP Cloud ALM, they can use our API, which supports already the SVG exchange, and then soon also BPMN via API. And the nice thing here, if we really then have the BPMN available, you can select all the different activities or tasks, the solution activities. You can use them and remodel them. So capturing requirements is important to define the real project scope. And so here you go to the solution process, or you select the solution process, which comes from the best practice or from the partner content, and you can then on this level capture your requirements, or you can capture the requirement directly at the solution activity level. So, and you capture these requirements to document your changes. And then, if you have these requirements ready, you would create follow-up activities as user stories, for example, tasks, and so on. So, and this brings me to this picture, which I think is really interesting. So, as said, we start with the scope, with the scope finance, and then we have here the J58, or the accounting, as the solution process, and this is, from my perspective, a good approach how you can do the Fit to Standard workshops. You capture then a requirement. There's the mouse. Here's the requirement. And as soon as this requirement is approved, you would create follow-up activities. And these follow-up activities you then can assign, for example, to a configuration expert, because there needs to be some configuration done, or you can assign it to a developer, because there needs to be some development, some integration done. And that's how you then assign these user stories to the specific experts who do the work. You could also create subtasks. And as soon as these user stories then, or these follow-up activities are done, you would create a test case for each and every one of these different, let's say, configurations, developments, and so on. And as soon as you have run then the tests and they have been successful, you could go and put everything into the feature, which is our transport container, and can deploy it in a specific release. And the nice thing is, when all these different objects and entities are connected to each other, you always see exactly where does my process stuck. So maybe there's a user story or a test case not yet successfully done. Then you can directly jump in there and see what has been happened. And this gives really then this end-to-end traceability. And that's what we have available directly in our analytics application in the SAP Cloud ALM. Okay, I need to bring the mouse back. Okay, so last but not least, we have now also available the process hierarchies. So we support them since this year. You can already add the process hierarchies to requirements or to documents. We are working on to have it also available then for the solution processes, that you can assign the solution processes to the different hierarchy levels. Available today already, we have the download of Access, so you can download a template, can fill it with the information, and then can upload it. And this is normally a use case what partners can easily use, but they maybe can already then prepare and bring it to the customer's Cloud ALM tenant. So we are really good in time, so we can now have a nice live demo of the things what I have just explained. So So here's the SAP Cloud ALM. I hided everything which we do not need today. So normally you see a lot more tiles, but we will only need those here. We will start with the process hierarchies, and as you can see here, we have already some hierarchy levels. For the modular processes, I created the supply chain collaboration, and here the purchase order, and this can already be assigned to the objects of requirements and to the object or the object of documents. I will also show this then in a second. And here then we have the opportunity to download this template, manipulate the data, and then upload it in here again. Let me quickly download it. So this is how the template looks like, and here you can fill in your information of the process hierarchies and then upload it. And this is the thing, like as a partner, you can already prepare this in your own Cloud ALM tenant and then bring it to several customers if it makes sense that they have the same process hierarchies or similar process hierarchies. Okay, jumping back. So the next thing I want to show is the scoping. So that's so we have created a project. I can jump in here into the project setup, and we jump here then into the scopes and can jump to the manage scopes, application manage scopes tile. And as you can see here, we have, for example, because we are in implementation of S/4HANA, but also business network supply chain collaboration, which is integrated with the S4. So we have here now a scope for finance, for business network, and so on. Let's stay with this business network example. Yeah, and if I click here the edit button, we could also create easily a new scope. We find all the different solution scenarios. So the packages, yeah, as said, the Ariba sourcing, Ariba buy and receive, best practices for S/4HANA. We can also here use the search. Then we can see all the different solution scenarios, process packages for the S/4HANA. I cancel in here, and we will now jump to the process scoping, the solution process scoping. We could jump in here, or we just go back and then jump from here into this screen. And as you can see, we have the scope of the business network, but we also had scoped the best practices for S/4HANA, so we could also have a look at those. Or here then the custom one, so you need to select the custom one in the manage scopes that you can see your own custom processes, which you are, let's say, create in the process offering. So, but let's end the scoping as I already have an example here from the business network supply chain collaboration. You can see the status is in realization. We see here the solution value flow, the business side. We have here some contacts on the right side. We can create from here already requirement, user story, project tasks, and so on. We can assign requirements and so on. And also here on this level, we have already integrated with the documents application. So let me quickly jump here into this document object of SAP Cloud ALM, and as you can see here, it also has a status, an owner, an ID. We have assigned this, or that was just the solution process, what we have seen. We have also assigned it here to the process hierarchy, and I hope my VPN works, yeah, because then here this SAP shorten link also works. Looks good. So we have now here then the PDF, which is stored on a Microsoft SharePoint. And it could be any other document file. Let me jump back. So, but now let's have a look at the BPMN at the solution process flow level. And this is a really, a quite detailed but really nice BPMN, I would say. It's from the Business Network Supply Chain Collaboration. They are modeling their processes in Signavio already since a long time. Other LOBs are using our Galilei framework for it, but this, for example, now is modeled in Signavio. We have here the overview of this process, and what I like about the content here is that we directly find user story information. So as you can see here, on a solution activity level, we find a user story and also acceptance criteria and so on. And so we can, on the solution process level, create the requirements, but we could also directly create a requirement from here if there needs to be a specific change with regarding this task in this BPMN. As you can see here, down here, yeah, you can assign the different things. So, sorry, going back. So, yeah, exactly. And here I've already created a requirement, which is much easier. You already have today available templates for requirements. So a partner can also just add some templates here for the implementation project. And I have integrated here, or I have assigned also there the user story, a project task for those follow-up activities, also a test case, yeah, a feature. We can see here on the requirement, the process hierarchy is already integrated. The same document is as a reference in here, and down here then you have several options, several attributes like priority, release, you can give it a time box start and end date. Here you can see this, use this item as a template, and we can give it a tag and so on and so on. So jumping back to the solution process flow, and now we will copy the solution process flow. I will just save from here because naming does not matter that much at the moment. And if you click here, then the edit button, we can easily jump in here and create, for example, a new task which says approve from manager. So here also you have this, editing capabilities for the BPMNs. We quickly cancel in here. So we save, and then we need to publish it, and then we can use it in the Fit to Standard workshop. Okay, let me quickly. So that was the editing part, yeah, how you can edit SAP standard content. Also here, please try it out, give us feedback where we can improve. Then I want to show also the traceability, which you can find in the analytics. And here we will have a look at the solution process traceability as we are coming from the solution process. And as you can see here, we have the status in and all the objects, yeah, like the requirement, user story, project task, which are connected with each other. And that's what I meant if you want to have this end-to-end traceability. So we could directly jump from here into this user story and have a look why this is not yet done, and then can call the customer or can call the partner, or let's say in the end the responsible person down here, why is this not finished? We want to release this soon. Okay. Need to hurry up a little bit. So let's jump now into the Signavio. And I have just an easy BPMN created, which you can see here. I will not edit it now, but please trust me that it's not a picture or something like that. But we jump back here and we will export this one. We will export this as BPMN. Oh, yeah. For you, it's bigger than for me. I don't have included any sub-processes. So I downloaded it, and I will find it now then in the downloads. So we go into the process offering. We will create a new solution process, ALM Summit 2023, process management. I select here just a business process. I could give it a description and so on, but I just want to concentrate now here on the import. And if we are now here in the solution process flow, for sure it's just a new created custom process. So yeah, there is no BPMN or something like that available. We can easily click here, create from BPMN file. And now I go here to my downloads, and yeah, it is there. That's nice. The just downloaded BPMN. So as you can see, it's the same one as we had here in the Signavio, easily just uploaded here to this one process. So the next thing I want to show, I can upload several diagrams to this process, is another one. So here I have a screenshot from another BPMN tool, a web editor. And I have also downloaded from there a diagram. So let's try to upload this one as well. And I can find this here in my BPMN import. BPMN web editor was it called. And if I upload it here, you can see we have then here the BPMN available. Just to compare, like this was the original BPMN from the editor. This is just a screenshot. So I have 2-3 minutes left, so I will try something else. So at here copied the purchase order collaboration from the business network, what we have seen in the beginning. And now, for example, I can edit this BPMN in here, but we can also just download this one as an BPMN, and then going back to the Signavio and import BPMN here. So as you see, this was this purchase order collaboration. Successfully imported. And here now we can find this BPMN, which came originally out of the Cloud ALM. So please excuse me that I just add some task in here. It's just for demo purposes, okay? So I changed the diagram. It makes no sense for sure, but yeah, just for the demo purposes. And I save this one. Okay. Going back to the Explorer. Just refresh. And as you can see, the naming changed. And if we now export this one, Okay, it's exported. We jump back here to the process offering, and we want to have it here in this custom process. Create from BPMN file and go to the downloads. And as you can see, copy to. I changed the name in here, and if we upload it, it is available with my, let's say, wrongly designed task. That's it from me. Wolf?
So super, thanks, Michael. Very impressive. New PO, old PO, as you can see. But I'm very glad that I have the opportunity to have my last speech here on behalf of SAP Cloud ALM. And I will talk a little bit about the APIs today. So I think the API story, that was always very close to my heart, because I truly believe in the power of APIs, because that enables us to actually extend applications beyond to what the product teams intended to deliver. And that's actually something really fantastic. And that's exactly what I wanted to now talk with you about. So integrations and public APIs. So for Cloud ALM, for the process management portion, Michael showed you like a very impressive picture where you could see that Cloud ALM supports a variety of different objects. So for instance, we have the requirements there, we have the user stories, we have the tasks, we have the document objects, but indeed there are also the processes and the related diagrams, and we should not forget the scoping as such is also like an object, yeah? Because if you go into an implementation project, you define your project, but then there is the scoping, and if you talk about the scoping, there should be a possibility to also influence that scoping. So for instance, to say via a web page or a script or some code to say, well, I want to automatically add processes to the scope of an implementation project. For instance, to automate better or to react on some auto reactions from other environments, for instance. So we have decided for Cloud ALM to provide a bunch of APIs, and all these APIs are made available in the SAP Accelerator Hub. So I think this is the new name for the API Business Hub. So these colleagues extended scope a little bit, so they changed also the name. And as you can see over here, so we are in the SAP Accelerator Hub, and if you look into the Accelerator Hub, there is also one package that covers all the SAP Cloud ALM APIs. Under those, you find then, for instance, here, I will jump into the system in a second that we can see it in more detail. You have on one hand side some APIs that help you to change the scope object that we have. And on the other hand side, there are also APIs that help you to deal with the custom processes. Yeah, that's in principle what we offer there. And you can do a lot with these kind of APIs. So let me jump into, so now Michael, we are here. I need to jump into API Business Hub. There we go. API Business Hub. Let's go to Cloud ALM first. Here you see all the different APIs that Cloud ALM offers. So you see it's a lot. It's really a bunch of APIs that we have available. And among those, you see here is always SAP Cloud ALM custom processes. So that are the endpoints for the custom processes. And if we scroll down a little bit, no, if you go to the right, here you see SAP Cloud ALM process scopes. Let's get into that one. So here we have the descriptions for the process scope APIs, but the real beef can be found here under API reference. This is the actually area that is really of interest. So if you go into that one here, you see that we have 3 different areas, so to say, in that API. one set of endpoints that is about the scope object as such. So Michael was in the UI where he created a scope, right? You remember that? That is exactly what we can influence now with that API. So you have an endpoint where you can find them, you can create new scope entities, you can count them, you can display individual scope objects, you can update them, you can delete them, and most importantly, if we now look to the second solution scenario version endpoint, you can also access all the different solution scenarios that we offer. And now you can identify those you are interested in, and you can just assign them to the scope object. So you're doing scoping, high-level scoping right now. And it will not end with that. There's also solution process endpoint. And under solution process endpoint, now that endpoint is actually looking into the scope object that you have there. It is checking, okay, what are the solution scenarios that have been assigned to it? And then it gives you access to all the solution processes that are part of those solution scenarios. And again, now you can take a scoping decision. You can use these endpoints to say, okay, here I have some processes that I want to set in scope. In the code, you can mark them as in scope, you can post that to Cloud ALM, and then these scope changes will be applied. It's as simple as that. We have some very nice examples for that. So, for instance, who of you know the SAP samples repository of SAP? None. I'm shocked. I'm really shocked. Let's open it. Here we have a link to the samples. I hope we have that also in the session material available. So if we go in here, open. What we did is we collected a number of programming examples that show you how you could use these APIs to interact with Cloud ALM. So if we go into that one, there are, for instance, some sample applications. And under sample applications, here's, for instance, one that is about scoping API. Last year, it's pretty old. It's around for quite a while. If you go into it, you see, for instance, that we have here like a recording. Let's play the recording. I cannot play the recording here. If you play the recording, can I play the recording, Michael? Save as. Where is it now? Downloads. Oh, I'm messing with your machine now. It's your machine, no problem. No, it didn't work out, right? No, so I'm not playing around here. There is an MP4 document, and that shows you now how we run a script that calls the API. It's a Node.js script, and then you can see, okay, now suddenly we have a console application. It lists you the scopes. You can add new scopes. You can do the high-level scoping. You can pick the processes. You pick submit, and then you update the scope. So it's very powerful, and if you want to know how the code looks like, we have delivered all that also here as part of that sample repository. So if you want to have some ideas how you could do it and how you should eventually use such an API, just go there, check it out. I think there are some good ideas, and you can just use it to be a little bit motivated and to overcome the first how to do it problems. We have very much the same with the custom process API. While the scoping API is really about scoping only, the custom process API is about custom processes. So you remember there was one particular solution scenario that was called custom in Cloud ALM. This is where all the custom specific, the customer-owned processes end up. And this is an API to actually interact with exactly that package. Yeah. So if we go in there, so let me jump again here into the API Business Hub because I like it very much. ALM custom processes, we get into it. API reference, and here you see we have a bunch of APIs available. Why is that? Well, it's a quite big object that we have at hand now. So if you remember all the explanations, a solution process may consist out of multiple solution process flows. Each of them may have multiple solution process flow diagrams and so on and so forth. You may have accelerators attached. You may have a localization. So there is really a lot of stuff, and you can access all these aspects here. Yeah? So here is the solution process. This is like the core entity that we have here. This is like when you go into the authoring environment, you click create on the top right. This is that object then, right? Under that object, you are asked to pick a business process. That's the endpoint to interact with the business processes. You have the solution value flow. Yeah, you remember there is one diagram that is supposed to explain you what the business processes is capable to do. That's the value chain diagram with these chevrons. You might remember that. You can upload these documents here. Right now, that's an SVG upload that we support in the API. Yeah? The same, by the way, also for the solution process flow. And under the solution process flow, you find then down here the solution process flow diagrams. This is what we always consider as these BPMN diagrams, right? The API right now offers you to upload an SVG. Who of you has seen the presentation of All for One yesterday? Some of you. The colleagues, they used a script to upload the content they have, because All for One has lots of processes. They have their own practices because they tailored it to the industries they serve. They have their own content. They uploaded and they equipped Cloud ALM with exactly those APIs. Yeah? So this is a way to bring in your own content. Who of you saw Jannis Mücke presenting the Signavio story? Same API. He also used in the custom workflow the API to push data from Signavio automatically into Cloud ALM. So, and this is all enabled by these kind of APIs, and this is very powerful. Right now, as I said, SVG, but I learned that there will be also BPMN supported in the API down the road, and as soon this is available, that can also be leveraged, and then you have also access to interactive diagrams uploaded via the API. Goodie. The API asset is very comprehensive. We have also here the assets available, it's accelerators that are like very much like named links you can add. But this is if you have your own content, if you, for instance, describe your own documentations, if you have your central documents on a SharePoint or on a Google Drive or wherever, and you collect there, I don't know, your configuration, documentation, or you refer to some external sources, you can link that in via the API as well. So, as said, very powerful. Having said that, I'm very much at the end of my speech. We have samples also available for the custom process API, before I forget that. So please also check those. So the other example we have there, sorry, I was too quick, Michael. Let me go back. Here is, for instance, custom process upload. That's exactly the API, the example for the API for uploading content. So please check it out as well. And as far as I know, the colleagues from All for One used exactly that as a starting point to create their own version of it. And that's a wonderful example, I think. I really like these two customer examples. Now, having said that, I'm at the end of the story. So maybe, Michael, if you want to come on stage again. So if there are any questions, we would be happy to answer.